In tonight's match, we saw the first 35 overs yield no sixes, but in the last 5 overs, we saw 7 go past the boundary with not one 4 being hit. It was that kind of day out there in Mumbai between Rajasthan and Delhi. We'll dissect it for you on Criclytics Man vs Machine. Yup, the IPL doesn't cease to amaze us. The incredible Premier League, which is being termed as soon, has got another game which has just got us by absolute utmost attention, and eventually it saw the most expensive player in the league turn out to be the match winner. And let's now dissect it with Brian Charles Lara. Brian, what do we make of that particular clash? Because we've seen the last 2 games won by teams with the ball in hand, but this one certainly with the bat in hand.
Yeah, well, it's it's so tough to call this IPL. It's on the same ground we had teams scoring over 200 runs, and you think that it will be an easy going after the great job done by Rajasthan Royals with the ball, but it's just so unpredictable, and I just feel that the teams are just finding their way throughout during this early part of the tournament. It's not an easy thing to call. We saw Morris coming to the party this match. Just the previous match, a single was denied in the second to last ball when he was at the non-striker's end, just to give Sanju Samson the strike, and here he comes today and he wins it. So I think it'll take a time for all of us to settle, even the machine to settle on how things are going to progress throughout this tournament. But it's been another intriguing encounter. A lot of people might have taken off their televisions like they did in a few matches before where they felt that it's all over. But don't do that. Not in this IPL 2021. It's just been unbelievable, some of the results and some of the turnarounds in the last 5 or 6 overs of these cricket matches.
Absolutely. I think it's funny that you bring up the machine there, because I don't think it really did well today, but we'll get on to the Criclytics in just a bit. But could Delhi Capitals done anything different? They started off, of course, shambolically with the bat, but then they huffed and puffed their way to below par score, you would say, given the conditions at the Wankhede. But what could they have done in the last 2 overs, Brian? They had Rabada, they had Tom Curran. They went for Rabada in the penultimate. Do you think they made a mistake there?
Well, no, you've got to get your best bowler in that situation in penultimate overs. Reason being that you don't want your other bowler or whoever you choose other than your strike bowler to come in and maybe lose the game there, and then your strike bowler has nothing to bowl at. So I believe that Delhi did the right thing, trying to get Rabada in. Obviously, he went for a few more than they expected, which made it difficult for the end for Tom Curran. But yes, you do have to play that way. You have to try to close the game off and make it sort of very difficult in the last over, even though you're at risk with someone who is not your best. So I don't see anything wrong with the decision. I'm sure if it happens again, they will treat it in the same way. You don't want Rabada to run up to bowl, to defend 8 runs, 6 runs, because of a huge penultimate over for the batting team.
Yeah, Delhi fans watching that would have been pulling their hair out to see Rabada not nail one Yorker, let alone all the other balls that he bowled, which Chris Morris could cash into. Let's quickly talk about Rajasthan Royals, because of course you had a little glimmer of smile over there when we started the show right now, and I could tell that you're a big Rajasthan Royals supporter because everyone's gone against them, but you back them, and this is why, because they just produce results that no one can really foresee. No Liam Livingstone, Brian, today. Josh Buttler opened. Do you like the look of things in terms of their batting lineup?
Well, Josh Buttler is a class player and he's a proven performer, but he's in a little bit of a out of sort in terms of form. I mean, if I was, this is just my opinion. If I was running one of the IPL teams, I think I'll be pretty much making a lot of changes. It's not like a test series where guys can get into form and you've got practice games. I think players have to be honest, even though they are great players or the best players. They still have to be honest on their form. And it's not a football match where you can sub someone in the 65th minute, even though it's your best player and it's not looking good on the field. This is when you pick a guy, he's got to perform. He's in the game. He's got to perform. So for me, I would have gone with Liam Livingstone. They went with David Miller. He performed. everybody will think without Ben Stokes, who just received an injury, Jofra Archer, who is out since the beginning of the tournament. It's impossible for them to win now, and they came out and they performed like that. So for me, I think it's informed players that have to play, and I'm not disrespecting any player because they've had a great record. It's just that it's such an instant game. It's such a game that's right in front of you every single time that you may not feel in total form today, and I don't want you to go out there to try to find form. Find form in the nets and tell me when you're ready to perform. But Jos Buttler is not looking in great form, and that could spell a little bit of trouble because both of us know, and I'm sure the machines know as well, they are not going to rest Jos Buttler. So the likes of Liam Livingston, he may have to sit down and watch for a while now as David Miller really and truly sort of set himself in the team for a period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you with regards to Buttler, especially the fact that he's just such a commodity in T20 cricket that even if he has a couple of misses, you've got to really give him the longer rope. And I think given the constraint that they already have, Buttler will definitely be playing that 14 games. Now let's move on to Criclytics, because this is the part where we, of course, chalk out the predictions. We'll see what happened and who got it right. I can tell you for starters, it's the robot which has prevailed today, just by a slender win. It could have gone either way, to be fair, but we'll dissect the predictions with Brian. In terms of batsmen first, of course, Criclytics went for Shikhar Dhawan. None of the batsmen really stood out, barring David Miller. Now, Brian went for Liam Livingston. He didn't play. If he did, of course, maybe it would have been a different story, but David Miller was the man, of course, to take the mantle from Livingston. How do you think David Miller performed? Because it was a pressure situation, Brian.
Yeah, very, very pressure situation, and you got to understand the matchups as well. You felt that Ashwin was a perfect matchup against him, but he stayed out there, and we just felt that during that middle part of the innings when they were 3 or 4 wickets down, that they just needed to put together a partnership. We know that the run rate was running away from them. It was climbing 10, 11. But the most important thing is to put a partnership together and so capitalize in overs that you may have a good start. See if you can pick up a couple boundaries and a lot of singles and twos. And that's how he played, and that's what he did. And giving his team a chance. And when you've got players down at the bottom there like Morris, who can have a big over or can chase down 26 and 2. What you're doing is you're just really and truly giving yourself a chance. You're not batting yourself out of the game by giving away wickets. So I must commend David Miller for staying out there, putting together small little partnerships. One with the Watia that worth a few runs. I think he played maturely and a little bit for me, out of character. I think I see him as a guy who scores very quickly and sometimes gives his wicket away. So it was great to see him put his head down and put together a really responsible innings.
Yeah, his 10th IPL 50. That'll do him a world of good. Let's move on to the bowlers, because there were quite a few who were very impressive today from both sides. But the stand-up man was Jaydev Unadkat. He bowled a sensational spell. Brian, I shouldn't say more because I think you have a lot of praise for this youngster. I say youngster, the fact that he's just been around for a while. He's almost a veteran right now.
He bowled exceptionally well, and he's been around. I understand he's still very young, but he's been around for a long time. Big bucks was paid for him quite a few years back, but he just seems to be getting into his own, and the opportunity today presented itself, and he just got rid of the top order, which was very, very important for Rajasthan Royals. And you think that the confidence that the Delhi Capitals batsmen would have come in this game, brilliant opening partnership in the previous game, you think, well, this is not that strong attack. I mean, on paper, it's not, it's not Rabada, or it's not, Nokia, or in other scenarios, you don't have Jai Richardson or Maridat with pace. So you think that they would really and truly, cash in on such an attack. But they were disciplined. They bowled well. They bowled in right areas. And you look at the line that they bowled to even Shikhar Dhawan, wide of the off stump. He actually had to go outside the off stump to try to help the ball to leg, getting himself out. So it was a disciplined performance, and you just hope that it can continue. Wicket-keepers was just exceptional, and you must applaud him for the work that he did.
Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. And another person who was, of course, the match winner was Chris Morris, because he got that one wicket, but he also got the match-winning runs, those 4 sixes and whatnot. So he turned out to be the all-rounder again. This time, Stoinis was Criclytics' prediction. You went for your beloved Rahul Tewatia because you absolutely love the man from Rajasthan. Chris Morris, Brian, he didn't perform last game. You mentioned about the fact that Sanju Samson resisted that single against him, but now I think this will definitely do him a world of good.
Well, I mean, what I liked as well is the fact that listening to him speak after the game, he said that his plan was to sacrifice himself. If Sanju Samson ran the single, he was going to come back for 2 anyway, because he felt that Sanju Samson was batting so well. So that just to tell you the sort of teamwork that was going on there. He wasn't annoyed that he wasn't given the opportunity to face the last ball. He was just annoyed that they didn't try to get the definite 1 and the possible 2. So for me, that shows a lot of team spirit and team cohesiveness. For him to do the job on this occasion, the second match, very, very special. And that should give them some confidence, because we keep going back to Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer, but the guy with the big bucks, the man who they sort of deep into their pockets to get, justified it today, and they would want him to do it on a regular basis. So congratulations to Morris. I felt that he played well. He looks like a professional. He looks like every time he goes out there he tries, and maybe that's why a lot of the teams sort of pursue him, because of the effort he gives on the field.
Yeah, 2 precious points nonetheless for Rajasthan Royals. And we have to talk about the wicket-keepers and wind the show up, because we've got overtime with Brian's post-match verdict. Rishabh Pant, Sanju Samson. Of course, you got wrong in this one because you reckon that Sanju Samson could continue his form. It was Pant, of course, with that 50. And let's go to the match result, because there was really nothing to choose from the wicketkeepers, because there was a blatant winner. Match result, Rajasthan is what Criclytics said. You said Rajasthan as well. And eventually it was the Blues, or the Pinks, or however you want to look at them.
It's a situation where, I don't know, I think, again, you're seeing a team that has a game in their hands and just sort of giving it away. So, happy that Rajasthan Royals won. They're one of my teams that I had when they were at full strength to really go the distance. It's great to see them get off the mark. Delhi Capitals will have to do some work, because I find that middle is pretty fragile. I mean, Stoinis has been successful, but I just felt that sometimes, guys are a little bit too exposed, and he's one of them that's pretty much exposed. People know about his ability. Again, spin, I think it's a bit of guesswork on some occasions. But, outside of the opening pair and the captain, Rishabh Pant, you would think that, they would need a little bit more out of the other players to really and truly threaten for this title this year.
Okay, and I think in terms of the Criclytics title, you're way ahead in terms of points past the machine, despite it getting a little bit of catching up to do tonight. And we'll leave it at that, Brian. We have, of course, plenty of other games to dissect with you going forward, and we'll look forward to that. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us. And of course, there's Manchester United game right up after this one. So we'll wait and watch what happens in that. Until then, it's a goodbye from me.
Man United, come on.